Yo, what's up, everyone? How you doing? Happy Monday.
Hey, happy Monday, y'all. This is a co host of Disturbing the Peace, Jeffrey Foster, Dr. Jeffrey Foster, and.
Aaron Ness, yo, Aaron Ness. So here we are back with another episode on our podcast called
Disturbing
Disturbing the
the
Peace.
Peace.
As you have tuned in before, here we are disturbing the peace within education, challenging the dominant narratives and stereotypical notions that are specific to black and brown students within the K-12 educational sphere.
Yeah.
But before we get into our podcast today, we're going to recap our podcast. What was it titled, Dr.
It was
Foster?
called The State of Education.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
state of it, the state of education, and how we are in a state of
Of emergency.
emergency. It
Yeah.
is critical to the students now, especially those who are entering into or starting school, even those at pre-K, that we talk about not talk, but we educate, not school, but we educate students with a cultural lens, with a diverse perspective on education.
Yes, and making sure that we have the highly qualified individuals working with our children, and that's so important. And we don't need to be picking and choosing who gets a highly qualified teacher.
Right.
Everybody deserves a quality, culturally relevant, and responsive education.
Yes, I agree. I agree. It has to be holistic.
Mm-hmm.
In the army, they say, no, no, no. You know how the NCLB, the No Child Left Behind Act, promised that all children would be successful and no child would be left behind. Well, that's not accurate,
We started behind
to say the least.
in America,
Oh, don't get me
North
started.
America.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
Don't. I mean, it would be idiotic for people to think that you're right. We started way behind. We wasn't even
Able to freaking read.
a thought in the
Yeah.
Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. The country was not set up for African Americans or for those who have melanin in their skin. And it's a sad, but it's a true reality. And furthermore, the country at its core was built from our ancestors.
So many, and metaphorically and exactly, yes,
Yeah,
literally.
literally. Not being able to read and write, all these voter suppression laws that continue to suppress and oppress the black and brown community for us not to get a leg up. And everything that has happened, happened way before the slave ship was brought from Africa to Jamestown, Virginia in 1609, I believe. Um, yeah, I believe it's 1609. So anyway, um, so that's why we are in a state of emergency to ensure that our students, and it's all our students, to be black is not to say it's not my student. If you are an educator, we are all responsible and we all have a moral obligation to ensure the success of every child.
Correct. That is so true. And speaking of the success of every child, we can introduce our new topic for today.
Yes, yes, yes.
What is it?
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. It is an interpretive analysis on hip hop and hip hop pedagogy and why it is critical to the success not only black students, but students that are representative of either race.
Mm-hmm.
It is imperative for educators, school districts, leaders to teach children holistically, not just from the standards or Common Core standards or the state standards, just so the school students can receive a test at the end of the year, but also for students to be able to understand their educational plight, to be able to understand their nuances within education, and to be able to understand their socio and cultural political climates as relates to that overall being
Preach.
of their education and their future trajectory as they see themselves as they continue to matriculate and maneuver whatever we call society.
Yes, whatever we call. And, in order to support with that, there's this thing, this pedagogy, and it's called, well, there's a couple of pedagogies and frameworks, right?
Yeah.
And one is being culturally relevant.
Yes.
Culturally relevant pedagogy.
Yes.
Relevant.
Yes.
In order to be relevant, I think a great way to be relevant is to utilize hip-hop pedagogy. And we're going to talk about that a little more.
I agree. And so with hip-hop pedagogy, or let's start with hip-hop first.
Mm-hmm.
Before we even start with hip-hop, celebration to hip-hop, you feel me? Celebration to 50 years of hip-hop,
5-0.
Yes. Thank you to all those who contributed to the process.
Yes.
Not to the process, but thank you to all those pioneers.
To the movement,
the movement. Yes, the process.
All of it.
Everything. LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, Rakim, De La Soul, the Furious Five, the African Bambaataa,
Nas,
DJ Kool Herc in the building, in the house, Fat Joe, 50 Cent, Kanye West, Yeezy in the house, Luda, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar, Childish Gambino.
Yes.
So many
of the pioneers that helped start this movement called hip. Oh, shout out to my man Questlove as well.
Yes.
Questlove, all the work that he's done on hip hop, the roots. Man, that's so Lil Kim, Remy Ma. There's so many artists that we could speak of that help contribute to the success of hip hop. So, hip hop, happy birthday.
Yes. And the fact that I just think it's amazing that our parents were the ones that were young when hip hop first began, and they have watched this process, this progress.
Man, it is amazing when you look at the timeline from hip hop started with The Message in 1982, and then you see the timeline how it just continue to progress
and matriculate
exactly, to matriculate. And we actually wrote a paper about this as well, y'all. So we're gonna talk about it once it gets published in the Journal of Colorism Studies. So please should be sure to check it out. But we talk about the different eras and how different eras was fighting their own systemic issues, but yet the message was still clear. To be able to afford blacks the opportunity to have social mobility in spite of the social and political climate that sought to hinder the progress of black African Americans.
Y'all, that's an example of hashtag hip hop pedagogy right there. Did y'all hear that? That was a social studies lesson. Don't be talking about the Revolutionary War. You need to be talking about this.
There we go.
That's history right there. That's hip-hop history. Fighting for oppressed populations.
Yes.
Expressing the counter-narrative in a creative way so that everybody can hear. And everybody does hear it. And all types of cultures love hip-hop.
Yes.
And so we were being creative and figuring out how to get our message across through hip-hop.
Yes. And it's important. If you listen to the Message with the Fury Fives and Bambaataa, he talks about being in New York. He talks about being in different boroughs and not having quality assets or resources because of their zip code. Because they are black. And the government did a job where it was on purpose, where the redrawing of the map specifically referred to low-income communities and areas. And it started with the Black Panther Party. Afeni Shakur was really in the Black Panther Party, and Governor J. Edgar Hoover implemented these illegal co-ops to dismantle these political movements, such as, like I said, the Black Panther Party was one of them. He employed this thing called counter-interplo that literally dismantled everything and subsequently put African Americans in low-income housing just so they don't have the resources they need in order for them to be successful. This is why hip-hop exists. This is why hip-hop is powerful. Hip-hop was told through the lens of social politically conscious rappers to talk about their environment and what they went through and what they had to overcome in order for them to get there. Don't get it twisted. Hip hop became a global phenomenon in the late 80s, early 90s. So it will, not only did they receive, or hip hop artists receive, monetary gains from their lyrics, but it also helped to put hip hop on the map. It helped to explore this message of poverty, police brutality,
White supremacy.
white supremacy. Yes, it helped to establish all these notions that people were afraid to talk about. So if you're going to stop me from talking about it, or if I can't read about it, or if I can't write about it, now I'm going to use my voice to talk about it.
Going back to our roots back in the day, I can't think of the word right now, but what was
Shaman.
Huh?
A shaman?
Not shaman, but going back to our historical roots back in Africa, where storytelling was a big thing.
Shaman.
Yes. Shaman.
Because
So-
stories was passed down from generation to generation.
Yes, so going to that storytelling, and that's so big, and that translates to hip hop pedagogy, being able to express our counter narratives.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. And not only and it's important. So with hip hop, we often, bob our head to the
Yeah,
but rarely are we listening to the words that are being professed through the mic that comes through the vehicle of your radio. So in other words, it's like the voice is very powerful once you start listening to the lyrics and once you start deconstructing what it means in order for black people to have the social mobility that they need in order for them to be successful.
yes. And and I know we can't talk a lot about this because we need to move forward to talking about the curriculum. However, I just want to say, like, a lot of these new artists that we have coming out right now, they're signing up for they're signing on to record labels, and the dominant culture is pretty much dominating the narrative a little bit with the words that the artists can use, and the terms, with the topics, what they talk about.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate, but we still have artists out there that are doing their thing.
J. Cole.
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick.
Childish Gambino. This Is America, and things like that. Those have some powerful,
Meek Mill.
some powerful things that they're talking about.
And then to just move on from this, but I want to talk about Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar is one of my favorite movies. So if you have not watched it, or if the minute watch you watch it, go back and watch Brown Sugar. It stars Taye Diggs, and I forget the other lady's name, who plays along with the guy Taye Diggs. But in the movie, we're talking about, or not we, like I was in the movie, but in the movie, Taye Diggs was a music producer for this big town record label company, and then his boss man wanted him to sign these artists called Rated 10, and they put out a song. They put out a song, and Taye Diggs was like, this is not hip hop, this is not music. I'm not putting my name on this. And then he went out and started his own record label that truly represented hip hop and the culture and the cadence and the lyrical prowess that hip hop was once began with. So again, I would recommend you go and watch that movie because it's really a dope movie, and it really talks about hip hop or the love for hip hop as well. So speaking of hip hop, so how can hip hop translate into curriculum and curriculum pedagogy?
Well, hip-hop pedagogy is, there's so much to it, first of all, but you want to make sure that you're being culturally relevant with your students, and you have to make sure that you understand the core of hip-hop and not have your implicit biases coming in and saying that certain things are ghetto or not appropriate or things like that, or participating in hegemony and Eurocentricity. And then, even using things like call and responses. That's a part of hip-hop pedagogy. It's a part of what we've done historically in the past,
especially
in the church too. Using those call and responses, or using hip-hop pedagogy to talk about how looking at things in history through a critical lens and things like that. What else would you say?
What I would say is influence the students with the lyrics of hip hop as well, like
Yeah.
and have students to relate to the lyrics that are on the screen,
Yeah.
because that's what hip hop does. Hip hop is a sentimental but fundamental way of breaking down meaning, words, rhyme. It could be used in literature. You know, Lil
Yeah.
Wayne got an English degree, and that's how he was able to put together so many different complex metaphors. If you ever listen to a Lil Wayne rap, he said I got the vision like a line between two dots. Think about that. I got the vision between a line with two dots. You know, so it's poetry. It's descriptive. It's narrative.
Yeah.
It's metaphorical. It's simile.
It's figurative language.
It's figurative language. You can literally teach hip hop from a critical lens if teachers or educators are not being culturally biased to understanding hip hop, because that's what it is. We are the originators of poem, rhyme, rhythm, and cadence.
Yes.
Of style.
Period.
Of syntax. You know, these are some things that needs to be explored in the classroom.
Yeah.
If I know that I have students in my classroom that falls into the marginalization of their zip code, then I'm going to cater to that. And then you can still teach the standard within hip hop as well. If you're talking about poetry, pull up a poem of like rap. Pull up Tupac, for instance. Tupac was a poet. He was a social politically conscious rapper. I mean, there was others as well, but if you listen to a Tupac song, he says, "I'm staring through the world through my rear view. I'm speaking to God, but I can't hear you." You know, like that is metaphor.
Metaphorical. And then another thing that I want to say right quick is a lot of these rappers were brilliant, but if you were to, and some of them dropped out of high school, and if you were to talk to their teachers, would they have said the same thing? Would they have said that those artists were brilliant? Nas. Would those teachers that failed him and miseducated and undereducated him, would they have said that he was a brilliant lyricist?
Right, that part.
And a social
That
theorist?
That part.
Yeah.
And to sum it up and to close out Dr. Foster, you know, the great Notorious B.I.G. on one of his songs, he said, this song is dedicated to all the teachers that thought I'll never amount to nothing. I'm going to say that one more time. He said that these are for all the teachers who thought I would never amount to anything. And Biggie was a social and politically conscious rapper who advocated through his words, through his lyrics, his lyrical prowess, to make systemic changes within education.
Wow. So just today and every day, you all make sure that you are open-minded and appreciative of hip-hop. And hip-hop has done so much for our community in marginalized populations.
Yes.
And we are so blessed to have this creative art and that has multiple meanings and all of that.
I agree. So in closing, hip-hop, we love you. Peace out to you, hip-hop. You know, keep doing your thing, hip-hop. We here, we grind it, we support you, we with it. All right, to all the listeners out there, you know, thank you for your support. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe on all our multiple platforms.
Yes.
And comment as well. We definitely want to hear your feedback.
Exactly.
What you think. Anything that we can do to be better. So for you guys, because it's ultimately for you and to really make systemic changes within the K-12 educational population as it relates to marginalized and minoritized students.
Perfect. Yes. All right. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out, y'all.
Have a great week.
Yes.
Have a great day.
Yes.